Well, hello guys. Welcome to our on ramp to wellness coaching. It's going to be exciting here as we go through the next half an hour or so, talking about our four components and really sharing with you guys what it is that we do as wellness coaches and how we utilize the four components of our plan, how they interlock together to make such an amazing difference in our lives. As we're getting started here, first of all, we've got Diane Thomson, who's going to be talking later about the habits of health system. Maureen McDade Fraser, she's going to be talking a little bit about community. And then we have Julie Greco, she's going to share with us about the role the health coach plays. And then Michelle Estep is going to be talking about how we use our nutrition plan and fuelings to make a difference in simplifying the process of getting healthy. And if you can, right now there's no background noise, which is great, but you may want to put yourself on mute. And then actually, I'm going to put everybody on mute now. And then when our speakers are ready to talk, they'll come off of mute. The other thing that I wanted to say is that if you can share your camera so our speakers are able to interact with you and, get the nods and the smiles and maybe the, what was that? Maybe if we have any of those, we'll be able to see those too. So, so we're going to start off, and I want to challenge you guys with just a little bit about sort of taking an assessment of your current reality. And so if you think of the three main roles in a human being's life, we've got our physical bodies. That's where we wake up and that's where we get to live in all day long, right? And so our the house, if you will, that we live in is our bodies. And so we wake up every day and we get through our day. And so it's really important to assess where are you at with your physical health. And then, so give yourself a score. Maybe you're good, fair, great. And there's a little number. The highest number is 60 and the lowest number is 10. And then mental health. Mental health covers areas like how you navigate stressful, unpredictable situations in your life, or what's the quality of the relationships that you have. I would put spiritual health in the mental category, into that mindset mental. So you give yourself a score there where you think you're at. And then the third one is financial health. And so that's how we pay for the life we live, how we're able to make memories, the opportunity that we have to make memories, afford housing, food, some of the, obviously all of our needs, and then even over into our wants category. And so if you calculate all three of those out, where would you say, you're at? And you can maybe type it in on the chat now or later. And you can see kind of an assessment for where you're at. And then what we're hoping to do by the end of our presentation today is not only show you how the four components can be a catalyst for you to develop those three areas and make important improvements in those, but we're also going to be talking about how you can be part of introducing the four components to other people to give them a chance to be healthy in their life. And so these are our four components. And so one of them is basically, we call them fuelings, but they're essentially some tools that we can use that have nutrition in them and also have calories in them that helps us along our journey, helps us to get the food equation right. The second one is the habits of health system, and that's where we learn about how to live this new life. And then our community is, who do we do these things with? who do we hang around, who's important in our life. And then the fourth component is having a supportive person along the journey with you, and that's the Optavia coach. And so this is kind of the way that I think about it. You have all four of your components that are kind of in the middle, and then you got the coach, and the coach's role is to introduce and to learn and know these four components. And then you have the client on the other side, and the client's job is to integrate those four components into their life. And so you can see in between the coach and the client are these components that make a massive difference. And speaking of a massive difference, I'm going to bring on Michelle tonight, and she's going to share a little bit about her story of transformation and how specifically the fuelings have made an impact in her life. So welcome, Michelle. I'll have you come off a mute there. There you
Okay.
go. Now we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Craig.
Perfect.
So for me, the picture, I'll talk about my before and after real quick. So the picture on the left is me and my husband that was taken at the beginning of COVID when they had just shut down everything. And when I got that picture, we were out walking around and this couple asked if they could take our picture. So we had them take the picture. And when I saw that picture, I just wanted to cry. Absolutely hated it. That is probably the heaviest weight that I had ever been. And then the picture on the right is now, that was about 2 weeks ago at my niece's wedding. I started Optavia as a client and a coach about 3.5 years now. So when I was younger, I was really into health and fitness, and I never struggled with my weight. But as a stressed out adult, I've battled the bulge since my youngest daughter was born 29 years ago. So over the years, I've tried several different diets and even hired a personal trainer that I worked with at a gym, and nothing really seemed to work. I worked with some friends who were nutritionists, and they started adjusting my diet, and I went on a meal replacement product. And at that point, I started to have health issues with my kidneys and was diagnosed with a protein absorption disorder that created kidney stones really quickly. So since then, I haven't been able to do any fad diets. I wasn't supposed to use any nutritional supplements, and I had to be very careful about what I put in my body. My doctor did not want me eating any processed foods. He wanted me to watch my protein intake and eat vegan and follow the Mediterranean diet. And all of that without giving me any nutritional counseling. So I kind of felt lost, and the weight just kept coming on. Before joining Optavia, I had met my coach online through Facebook, and we had some conversations about nutrition and eventually the fuelings and the program itself. Due to my medical condition, I was very hesitant because other products on the market had made me so sick. So these fuelings that Optavia offers were going to be the deal maker or the deal breaker for me. I did a lot of research into the fuelings, the protein load that I would be consuming, and the ingredients that went into them. My coach connected me with the Optavia nutrition support and worked with me to confidently answer my questions. Seeing that the fuelings were not heavily processed, they're actually freeze dried. They have no preservatives in them. They are low glycemic, so it helps control the blood sugars. They don't contain a lot of sodium or sweeteners, flavors, or colors from artificial sources. Plus, they've got all the vitamins and minerals that our bodies need, plus a probiotic. So I found that there was nothing like them on the market. The meal replacement products that I found out there don't even compare or come close to the quality of the Optavia fuelings. I was willing to experience this program firsthand because to me, it just made sense. And since then, I've been all in, and I haven't had any problems. The simple structured nutrition plan keeps the simplicity level high. I do need, would like to mention that I did also get better results through this more simplified process than the route that my doctor wanted me to go. So the simplicity of this program really is key for me. And a lot of the fuelings are grab and go, so I can take them with me wherever I go. I can use them when I'm traveling, and there's a lot of familiar textures and flavors. But what I appreciate the most is that simplicity. It's, you know, they are very high quality and so simple to use. So yeah, that's you know, pretty much how I got going with that. And you know, the fuelings have really been a life changer.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would be able to lose the weight, and you know, I've kept it off for a year and a half now, and I'm resetting my goal, and I'm going to go for 20 more. And my husband even went on it, and he didn't think he had any weight to lose, but he lost 35 pounds that he didn't realize that he had.
Oh my goodness,
So
fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. Congratulations on that. One little detail. So the when you're eating the fuelings and when someone starts off with wanting weight loss, tell us a little bit about, like, there's different phases that people go through, or is the program and the eating plan primarily just a weight loss plan?
yeah, no, there's actual phases that we go through. There's 3 phases actually with utilizing the fuelings. So phase 1 is when your body has too much fat. And so most clients follow the 5-in-1 protocol, which is 5 fuelings and 1 lean and green. And this puts our body into a gentle fat burn where the bodies burn off the fat that it stores, and it uses that as energy. So a lot of people actually try to do this through keto, but without the right nutrient balance, it's really hard on your body. Optavia fuelings, however, are the fuelings combined with the lean and green are scientifically and nutritionally designed to meet all the macronutrients that your body requires. So it works with your body and not against it. So during phase 2, that's when a person has met their goal. And so then they go through a transitionary period and they start to introduce more whole foods back into their diet. It's really important to work with your coach at that time, because we take a look at your total energy expenditure and make sure that you're getting the right caloric intake, because you're increasing the calories. And so we got to find that balance with you, depending on what your activity levels are. So that's a transitional phase. And then after that, we go into an optimization phase of your health. And that's where you have fully transitioned off the 5-in-1. You've met your healthy weight goals. And some clients go on to what they call the 3-in-3. So they're using snacks and stuff like that, some of the fuelings still throughout the day. But this phase focuses more on the nutritionally smaller meals that we're still eating every couple of hours, while integrating more food choices in the right proportions. This is a continuation of moving forward in their health with the healthy lifestyle that they have now created, and working some of those habits back in, you know, continuing with the habits into their life. It's a daily choice to continue to move and be healthy.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So 3 phases, and then there's the fuelings combined with the lean and green along the way. And then you're, just to summarize, one of the things you said that I thought was great is that because these are freeze dried and have no preservatives, they're not considered a processed food, where a lot of everything is high processing. And you had challenges with other meal replacement type things, but the purity of this program, your body accepted it, and then you've been able to have such great success. Does anybody have a question about the fuelings or for Michelle before we move on to Diane? Excellent. It looks like you did a great job. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing. So I'm going to bring up Diane now. And so Diane and I have been working together for almost 10 years, 10, 11 years. And so she's going to tell us a little bit about your story kind of your employment history of what you've done for your life, and then how the Habits of Health and the Optavia program has made such a amazing difference in your world.
Yeah. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, I am Diane Thomson, and I'm excited to announce that I'm a former registered dietitian because the quality of this program and the effectiveness in helping people overhaul their complete lifestyle, the way they look at um, food, all of it. I was able to give up my RD status and just do this. So that's pretty exciting, because I really feel like this is really the key to getting to your healthy weight and staying there. I don't know, can people see my before and after? Because I'm not seeing it, Craig. Did it go away? Okay, well, I wanted to refer to this because on the left, that was me. 23 years difference between those two photos. So on the left, I got to a healthy weight. I think I was like 106 pounds over there. But I killed myself doing it. That's me doing the Canadian Ironman, which if you don't know what that is, you swim 2.4 miles, you bike 112 miles, and then you run a marathon 26.2 miles. So I had learned how to keep my weight off through excessive exercise, which wasn't healthy. I developed a athlete's heart, which isn't a good thing, right? And so, I couldn't get my patients to do the same thing that I did. So my results were pretty bad with my clients at the time. Only 10% were successful at losing their weight, and which means 90% of them regain their weight within 2 years. Now, most health professionals go into their profession wanting to make a big impact on people's lives, and I wasn't doing that. So I got really frustrated, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I actually stopped doing weight loss in my profession. And really why that was, the success that I saw with my patients was really temporary. It didn't last, right? And most of the focus was on losing weight, not keeping it off for the long haul. And that's not very effective. And that's why those statistics of 90% of them regain their weight are true. So we were missing the bigger perspective of the whole process, the mindset. Everything starts with your mindset, which leads to your emotions and then your actions. So we weren't addressing those things. So now with the Habits of Health system, and this is one of the books, but it takes you through all of the different components of health and everything: nutrition, exercise, which is a healthy piece of being is a critical piece of being healthy, but not the way that I was doing it, right? I bet no one here would want to do what I did to be at a healthy weight. No one would. Eventually I didn't want to do it anymore. So so this program really put me in the role of partnering with my clients rather than telling them what to do. So after going through this book, you direct your path, right? Or you set the pace of your path. um, with a coach, you're partnering together, and it makes all the difference in the world. It's really empowering, and the cool thing about it as well I gain benefits from that, because by helping you, I'm helping myself, because I need to be reminded sometimes of what to do to be healthy, right? Because we all get busy and we all forget. So this program, because of the habits of health, is transformative and lifelong lasting. That's the most important thing. And that was the piece that I was missing as a registered dietitian. So the reason, to be honest with you, the reason I came into the program was I was doing the Boston Marathon and I wanted to lose a few pounds. I think it was 8 pounds. Craig was my coach. And I knew that would make a big difference in the pounding, because for every pound you lose, there's 4 pounds there's 4 fewer pounds of pressure on your joints. So consider 8 pounds times 4, 32 fewer pounds of pressure on your joints for 26 miles. That you're going to have a lot less pain, right? So I had a little bit of a motivation to complete this marathon. But what it did was it really helped me. And if you want to bring back my picture, because that was a significant picture. The second one. Oh, there it is. Okay. I had broken my arm in 3 places. Okay. And I wasn't able to do nearly as much exercise as I was before. And I didn't gain any weight, guys, because of the habits of health system. So to me, it's the cat's meow, if you will. I mean, it really is life-changing. So now I use a holistic approach, not just diet and exercise, which is the 2 most common tools that dietitians use. I use a holistic approach that addresses all of the components of health: sleep, nutrition, inflammation. We teach people how to eat to reduce inflammation. So it's just a complete program. So now when I support others, I also reinforce my own health journey. So I just
Awesome.
love it.
So, any questions before we move on to Maureen about the Habits of Health system or Diane's personal story? Comments? Of course, if you guys have questions, you can put those in the chat and I can read those at the end. So if something does come up we got 2 more presenters that'll round out the rest of the 4 components. And so if you have a question, you're welcome to pop it in there. So thank you, Diane. Next, we're going to bring up Maureen. And so why don't you share just a little bit about these before and after pictures and how how having a healthy community has made a difference in your personal journey.
Great. Thank you, Craig. And thanks everyone for being on this evening. Really appreciate that. And gosh, look at my before picture. Many of you probably don't recognize me. And sometimes I look at it and go, was that really me? Well, it's been 9 years, that picture on the left there, when I saw my doctor and found out I had high blood pressure. And my doctor told me I had 2 options, either to go on medication or get the weight off. And at the time, when I kind of reflect on that picture, you guys, it's just like I was really not in a good place. I thought I was in a good place till I got hit with the high blood pressure, and I knew I had been gaining weight. That was something I knew that was happening. And when my doctor said, either medication or get the weight off, Diane mentioned it too, with the habits of health. And also what she used to do was exercise. And that was my go-to. I was going to exercise it off. And I actually did for the first month, because that was always what worked for me. And the first month I tried the exercise, and I was definitely getting stronger, but the weight was not coming off. I was working out really hard, you guys, thinking that, hey, and watching what I was eating, but I didn't have the nutrition down, so I wasn't losing the weight. So I definitely was discouraged, disappointed, felt defeated, because what I did previously with the exercise, when that wasn't working, I just knew I needed to do something different. And that's when a coach actually approached me about the program. And some of you might be able to relate to this. This was the third time I heard about the program, but the first two times I wasn't ready. And so I decided, you know what I was doing was not working. I'm going to do this program for a month and just see what happens. And actually, it was just a few days after being on the program, my energy changed. I started feeling better. I was really excited because the weight started coming off. And I actually went through the holidays. So Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, I was able to lose, it took me 6 months and I lost 40 pounds. And I actually reset my goal. So we're always talking about, working on our goals. And I decided to take off another 10 to get at a healthier weight for me. So, you guys, that was 10 years ago. And I'm speaking tonight about community because I personally feel all four components really have continued to help me experience success with my health. And when I think about community, I think about being around other people who think and care about the same thing that I do, health and wellness. And community really keeps me motivated. It helps me. I love learning and new tips, and it's actually very enjoyable, very fun. So some of you may have heard this before, but community is actually two words if you break it down, right? Common and unity. And so common, the first part of community, is with a similar interest, and then unity is doing it together. We're united. We have a united front, so we're better together. I say that a lot for those of you that know me well. So I wanted to mention a few other things that for me are important with community. And we have our Monday night calls, which are a rock on my calendar. And I know some of us are busy and we're not able to be on at 5. But the nice thing about the Monday night calls is that they're recorded. And so if I can't be on there live, then I usually will be able to watch the recording. And you guys, 9 years later, I find a lot of value on those calls. And then we do, as coaches, an after party and after the Monday night calls. And that's just kind of just really helps with learning from others and feeling motivated, connected. We just definitely rely on the strength of others to fill us, and that we're not alone. And as I mentioned, we're better together. And it just, for me, it's just so exciting to be around others that are positive and uplifting, and it's contagious, right? All right. And then Craig, if you want to show the I took a quote that was actually on our Monday evening call, and it's actually in your life book, Element 5 on optimizing your surroundings. And oh, thank you, Craig. And as it says on the screen there, relationships are critical to everything we do in life. We are hardwired to be social, and our sense of connection, belonging, and attachment to other people is one of the most fundamental of all human needs. This connection not only serves us on our journey to health and well-being, but is essential in living a longer, healthier life. So that's my presentation on community. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or about the community aspect of our 4 components, or even specifically about Maureen's journey? Excellent. Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job. So we've got one final presenter, and this is the 4th component, and it's basically that everybody that joins our program has access to a health coach. but you also, as a client, can get trained to become a health coach yourself and help other people. And that's what all of our presenters have done. And Julie's going to be showcasing how having a coach has made a difference, and a little bit about her transformation story. So welcome there, Julie.
Thank you, Craig. So you can see my before and afters. I came into Optavia because I needed to lose some weight. It was all pandemic weight, and I had previously tried to exercise my weight off, as well as some of these other ladies. I had tried things like Whole30 and paleo diets. I had tried cutting carbs, keto, you name it. I had had meal delivery programs sent to my house, but I was ready for something that was actually going to stick. With all those other programs in the past, they had tried for maybe, they had worked for a month or two, but just like you all know, probably, you try those things, they work while you're on them, and then all the weight just comes back. So Optavia kind of fell into my lap. I decided to give it a try. Both my husband and I lost over 30 pounds in several months. And then the coaching fell into our laps just a couple months after we became clients. So I am a pharmacist. I'm also a busy mom of two. And the reason why I believe that we took on the additional role of coaching is because it's similar to what I already do. I love helping people. A coach is the person who cheers you on. They're your biggest motivator. If you have questions with plan or anything that you're going through, you're going to go straight to your health coach. They're going to call you once a week and just check in with you for a few minutes and see how things are going. They are going to review the life book with you. And, when I say cheerleader, I truly do believe for me that this was the game changer, because in the past, I had always just thought that my husband was my biggest cheerleader in life. And he is, but he was not being a great cheerleader for my nutritional goals. It's one of those things where I'm sure some of you can relate. You get to the end of the meal and then one person's like, well, should we order dessert? And the other person's like, well, sure, yeah, well, let's just share that dessert. And so I do think that having somebody outside of my marriage, outside of the household, checking in on me on a weekly basis is why I've had so much success with this program, and also why I've been able to keep the weight off for over 2 years. Why I became a coach, like I said, it's helping people. I honestly started losing weight and people started asking me what was working. It's not one of those things where I set off to do, but it just kind of naturally flowed into what I was already doing. I love sharing things. I love sharing what works for me. I love sharing things I love. So when people start asking you and you have a heart to serve others, it's just natural. Optavia pays us and compensates us very well to help others. And the nice thing is that we can choose if we want to serve many people or if we just want to serve one person. So I like that they give you that choice. There's no quotas that we have to meet, but everybody gets to choose how much of an impact they want to make on those around them. Additionally, I personally love having multiple sources of income. So helping others and the feeling of helping others drives me to continue doing what I do as a health coach.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Fantastic job. So those are the 4 components, and I want to appreciate or just take a minute and thank Diane and Michelle, Julie, and Maureen for basically going through these 4 different components. I'll share the screen one more time just as in review. And these are the 4 components that Optavia has put together, and it's like we've said many times, if you just have an eating plan goes away as soon as you lose motivation to continue the eating plan. And most of the other programs on the market only offer you an eating plan that's associated with weight loss. And that's one of the game changers. We over the last 40 years, 40 years that Optavia has been working on this, they've realized that there wasn't one person that came into Optavia saying, I want to lose weight temporarily. Everybody wanted to change who they were, lose the weight, and keep it off. And so we had to develop more than just an eating plan. We had to develop 3 eating plans, one protocol for losing the weight, a transitionary phase, and then a protocol for keeping the weight off long term. But in addition to that, the habits of health, which is what Diane shared on, helped so much with thinking differently, finding new ways to think and new ways to live, so that we don't live as someone who always struggles with weight loss, but we live as something that lives comfortably at a healthy weight. And that's a big difference from just a traditional eating plan or what I call a diet. And then the community is learning to be healthy with other people that are learning to be healthy, because that's going to make an impression on your life. I would say that community, if you keep a healthy community around you, the statistics for your long-term health are way increased over if you stay connected to an unhealthy community. And then the last is not only the fact that our clients have access to a coach, but that we also can become a coach and get mentored and trained in the process of helping other people. So at this point here, I wanted to toss it to you. This is more of this was a highlight or something that I learned today. And, or if you have a question of maybe a little more clarity on how something works, and you can ask me or one of the presenters those questions now. So we're going to take a minute and send it over to you guys. What questions or highlights did you have from these amazing presenters? Mary Kay, are you looking for the unmute? Here, I'll give you a hand there.
I was just wondering what's the process of learning to be a coach?
Fantastic question. Yeah, great question, Mary. The process of learning to become a coach is actually fairly different than the traditional methods of learning. Typically, you go to a school and you learn for 2 to 5 years, whatever it is, and then you get a degree. And that degree costs you thousands of dollars typically. You don't get a paycheck. You get a piece of paper and a bill, right? And then you go look for a vocation or a job where then you're going to take that piece of paper and try to turn that into income. And part of it is paying back the debt from your schooling, and then part of it is income, right? So that's traditionally how our education system works. Well, Optavia found that there's also another way to learn, and it's where you can be in an apprentice style role. And if you're going to be a journeyman or plumber or electrician, you have a certain amount of time where you're in the school learning things, and then you have you are shadowing or being apprenticed by someone who's more experienced. And so what we decided is most people want to become coaches that have already experienced the process and some of the transformation personally. And they get excited, or somebody in their friends or family network says, I want to do what you're doing. Will you help me? And so what we then do is, as the mentor coach, we come alongside and we coach and develop your first clients together. And we teach you how to find the clients, how to have conversations, how to answer questions, how to do the assessments. And so all of it is on the job training. The nice thing about this job is you get paid while you're learning as you're developing clients. So you don't get a bill at the end, you get a paycheck along the way. And so it's very much, like I said, an apprentice role. The coaches, we have an app for your phone that has a sequence of all of the talking points and the forms and how to organize your coaching practice so that you you are successful. But we never stop learning. There's some of the people that are actually watching today who are coaches. And believe it or not, I've been coaching longer than everybody on this call. I've been coaching for 13 years. And I learned 2 things today by listening to these presentations. And so I love the fact that we're lifelong learners, and the process really comes as an apprentice mentorship role where we train you while we're showing you how it's done. Did that make sense, or did that answer your question, Mary?
Yeah, I think so. It's just that I just would want to feel more, I think anybody that I coached would want me to be the expert, and to be the expert would be very uncomfortable until I actually, was an expert. So,
Right.
if they're looking for me to be, the one with the answers, I really want to make sure I was the one with the answers,
Right.
if that.
Yeah, it
So-
makes complete sense. And believe it or not, Mary, that is the number one, I would say, pause that people have from going from a client to a coach is it's a concept or an idea that I have to make sure I know every answer to every question. I don't personally know every answer to every question. I know a lot of the answers, but because we coach in teams, that
Mhm.
you don't actually coach your first 5 clients. Your mentor coach does, but
Okay.
you're there listening and learning through the process. And I'm certain that whoever is your coach knows enough. They're coaching you, for that matter, so they
Gotcha.
know enough to at least have gotten you where you are now. And so
Okay.
they're going to be walking lockstep with you while you're developing this. Actually, Robin, would you, because you and I work together as a coach, and you've been a personal trainer for years, would you talk a little bit about some of the confidence and some of the ways that you and I work together that's been valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. My background is in weight loss and exercise, and it's fascinating to hear the ladies who that the exercise no longer worked, and I can see that, and I'm still an active personal trainer. But even now, so I've been a coach probably 6 or 7 years. The last maybe couple have gotten to work with Craig, and so I've been helping clients all along, bringing Craig in. I had like this much knowledge, and then when Craig stepped alongside of me, even now, we had a conversation earlier. So I have a client who's a little bit stuck, and I'm like, "Hey, Craig, I'm not sure about the questions to ask, or I'm running into something that I'm stuck." And Craig's like, "Great, we're gonna get on the call. And what you want to do is when you're working with your folks, you say, hey, this is a team approach coach anyway, right from the beginning. So you're going to be really upfront, going, hey, there are some things that I'm learning, and we're going to work with my coach who's going to help me and help you. So I don't know, it really, really works. And then there's something really special. I think the people that you bring along your mentor coach with, it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good that there's not even just you supporting them, that there's other people who've had the experience, who have had more experience, that can come alongside and support them. So I think they feel good about that. I think they'd almost rather go, oh, there's more than one of you. And it's like, absolutely. And we're all here to help you win. So
Yeah.
that's my take on it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Does that
Okay.
make sense, Mary? Did that answer your
Yeah.
questions?
Yep, it sure does. Thank you
Super.
very much.
My pleasure. By the way, who invited you tonight?
Diane Thomson.
Oh,
Yeah.
her again. Okay, good. So good. All right. So who else has a question? Great questions, Mary. Those were right on point and so good. I'm sure everybody learned from your question and the answers. Who else has a
Okay.
question about maybe one of the presenters, or maybe just a comment of something you learned or enjoyed? I think I have a question in the chat here. Oh, it was Robin. Perfect.
Well, yeah, and I'll break that up again. It was really cool. This timing is amazing, with what Michelle said, having just issues. So I had
refer another friend who, had some medical conditions. The doctor's like, oh, you have to lose all this weight, but it can't be this and it can't be that. And so she had hesitations. I was like, well, let's just jump on a call because I want to hear your story anyway. But just knowing that you learned that it was freeze dried and, some of those things that, she could feed back to her doctor and say, hey, I think this is something I can do. Because obviously the doctors are not necessarily going to research every product program out there. So even learning that and going, hey, let's jump on the call, get on with the nutrition folks at Optavia and let's ask them questions. Like that was gold right there. So super helpful.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Well, we're finishing up now. I want to make sure, give everybody a chance. We're going to take a little group photo, so we'll have you guys smile. Because we're going to do a series of these little presentations because we want to give everybody that would rather feel better than they currently feel, or would rather weigh a healthier weight than what they currently weigh, or would rather be stronger than the strength they currently have, or any of these things where I would prefer to be in a better situation than what I'm currently in. We want to make a concerted effort to showcase what we do and the success we have so they don't have to be sitting on the sidelines any longer. They can get back and engaged. So any last questions here before we finish up and take our photo? All right. So how about everybody give me a thumbs up and then we will, this will be one for the record books. All right, guys, smile. Got it. All right, you guys. So the folks that invited you here will follow up with you and get more information or answer more questions. But ultimately, we're here to partner with you. And thank you for attending. This was our first in a series of these. And so we appreciate you guys giving us a full house tonight. And thanks everyone for showing up.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.